Hello, welcome to the Flipped Classroom for World History Honors. Today's topic is Hitler and the Rise of the Nazi Party. As we begin our study of World War II, one of the questions I'm most frequently asked by my students is whether or not Adolf Hitler was Jewish or had any Jewish ancestry. The idea seems to stem from the Nuremberg trials, where Hans Frank, Hitler's Minister of Justice, reported that Hitler had ordered him to investigate the paternity of Adolf Hitler's father, Alois, pictured left. It had been rumored that Alois' father was a 19-year-old Jewish man by the last name of Frankenberger. Hans Frank confirmed that Hitler's grandmother was employed in the Frankenberger household, and they were a Jewish family. Alois was born an illegitimate child, and the father's name on the birth certificate was deliberately left blank. That fact alone has allowed speculation about the origins of Hitler's paternity and ancestry to take on a life of its own over the decades. There is no definitive proof that Hitler had any Jewish ancestry, but speculation remains rife. Here we see German troops in full retreat at the end of World War I. Ominously, many soldiers did not accept the defeat of the German Empire. Many soldiers argued that Germany had remained unbeaten on the battlefield, and that the surrender was a stab in the back by enemies and traitors. Many Germans believed this, and the Nazi Party came to power exploiting that idea as well, which is spelled out very clearly by Hitler in Mein Kampf. Can you pick Hitler out of this group of soldiers? Here we see Adolf Hitler seated to the extreme left, posing with some of his army comrades. Hitler reportedly participated in 47 battles and was awarded the Iron Cross Second Class and the Iron Cross First Class. According to military records, he was wounded twice, temporarily blinded by gas, and was responsible for the capture of an Allied officer and 15 men. These military decorations would lend him much-needed credibility once he decided to seek political office. Hermann Goering, the World War I flying ace, was to become Hitler's number 2 in command and heir apparent to Hitler. During World War I, Goering shot down 22 Allied planes and received Germany's top military decorations. As Hitler's second in command, Goering was responsible for the German four-year plan, rearmament, of course in violation of the Treaty of Versailles, the political police, and the rebuilding of the German Luftwaffe, or the German Air Force. Berlin, January 1919. A battle rages between the infamous KPD and government paramilitary units known as the Freikorps. The Freikorps were decommissioned soldiers from World War I. These Freikorps troops would later be disbanded, however many of them would go on to form the nucleus of Adolf Hitler's storm troops. January 28, 1923, Munich, Germany. The Nazis hold their first party day. The German government forbade the demonstration, but Hitler ordered the celebration to go on. The party banners went on display for the first time. They consisted of a black swastika on a white circle and a red field. The red meant anti-capitalism, the white meant nationalism, the swastika meant the superiority of the Aryan race. Munich, 1922. Hitler sits in a beer garden with friends. He was still an obscure politician, but was working to build the Nazi Party. November 8, 1923, Munich, Germany. Nazi storm troops prepared to storm a beer hall in an event infamously known as the Beer Hall Putsch. Incredibly, this fiasco would propel Hitler to national notoriety. November 9, 1923, Nazis move into Munich in a failed attempt to take over the city. Bavarian state police opened fire on Hitler and his men, putting an end to Hitler's attempts to take direct action. He would devise political means to take control of Germany. 1928, Hitler speaks to his stormtroopers. The Weimar Republic of Germany had 25 competing political parties. Hitler believed the country required a very strong leader. He called anyone who believed in democracy crazy brains. In the 1928 elections, the Nazi Party won 12 seats in the Reichstag. In 1930, they won 107 seats. In 1932, they had 196 deputies in the Reichstag, which was still not enough for a majority. Germany, 1932. With Germany caught in the throes of the Great Depression, the Nazi Party won 230 seats in the Reichstag, making them the single largest party in Germany. The Nazi Party had won 37% of the popular vote. 1933. Chancellor Hitler seated with his first cabinet. The Great Depression hit hard in Weimar Republic Germany. Over 6 million were unemployed, and strong anti-democratic delegates in the Reichstag forced the resignation of the head of the Social Democratic Party, Chancellor von Papen. Possessing the largest block of delegates in the Reichstag, Hitler then began demanding the chancellorship for himself. Equipped with the twin forces of terror and legality, the Nazis now put into action their plans to overwhelm the nation with a pitiless revolution. January 31st, 1933. Chancellor Hitler persuaded President Paul von Hindenburg to sign emergency decrees that suspended civil rights in Germany after the Reichstag building was set on fire. A Nazi newspaper warned the fire was a signal from communists to start a new wave of terrorism and revolution. Many believed the Nazis had set the fire themselves. Hitler would use the event to unleash a wave of political terror against the people of Germany. March 21st, 1933, Oranienburg concentration camp outside Berlin, Germany. Pictured as the first concentration camp opened by the Nazis after Hitler passed his enabling act. Social Democrats and Communists were arrested and placed in the camp, along with Catholic political dissenters and Jews. In a form of mass brainwashing, all Germans were forced to use the greeting Heil. The Nazi brass thought it made it much more unlikely that Hitler would be overthrown if the public could be compelled to swear their allegiance to Hitler multiple times per day. Notably, children were supposed to report their parents if they failed to greet them with the Heil. Hitler seizes control of the German courts. All judges were forced to swear their personal loyalty to Hitler. Special courts were set up to process enemies of the state. Germany was now officially a police state. The children. Hitler argued that German boys needed to be as tough as beasts of prey. With this aim, boys aged 8 to 14 joined the Jungvolk, the young boys, and boys aged 14 to 18 joined the Hitlerjugend, the Hitler Youth. Girls joined similar organizations aimed at making them fit for breeding and raising proper Nazis. The books, or more correctly the burning of the books, and where they burn books, they burn people. May 1933, German students prepare to burn pamphlets they do not agree with. The Treaty of Versailles repudiated. In order to quickly rebuild the economy, Hitler ordered massive public works programs like the building he is standing in front of. The recruits lived under strict discipline, strict training, and for all purposes were organized like military units. This is Zeppelin Stadium in 1937. As Germany rearmed, Hitler, in speech after speech, insisted that Germany needs peace and desires peace. Hitler sounded reasonable and conciliatory, but he now had more than 550,000 men under arms. Guns before butter. Hitler rebuilt significant portions of the German military in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. The Western democracies protested, but did nothing to stop him. Pictured at the top are wooden tanks used for training purposes. Pictured below are German panzers. The Jews. Hitler never ceased in his maniacal obsession with blaming the Jews for Germany's defeat in World War I. Here, a Jewish store is marked with the word Jude or Jew for easy identification by stormtroopers. Hitler ignored the fact that German Jews were killed in higher proportion than that of German Gentiles. His war against the Jews began in 1933 and ended in the gas chambers of the concentration camps. The Wolf's Lair. Hitler signs a bilateral arms agreement with England. The German dictator promised to leave Poland and Czechoslovakia alone in return for the right to rearm Germany, in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. On September 1st, 1939, German troops invaded Poland. That afternoon, the British ambassador presented a note to Hitler, stating if the invasion was not halted, His Majesty's government in the United Kingdom will without hesitation fulfill their obligations to Poland. On September 3, 1939, England and France declared war on Germany. Hitler announced to the Reichstag that Germany was at war. He said, "I am now nothing but Germany's first soldier, and I will not take off my uniform until victory is ours." World War II had just begun.